So, welcome everybody to the first In Conversation with, and today my very special guest and friend is Denise Narick. She's the chairwoman for the Clayfield Association of Austria. She's a certified Clayfield worker and works with children, adolescents and grown-ups. And the reason for this conversation today is because on Wednesday evening, I believe it's Wednesday the 6th, is that correct? Or Wednesday the 7th. Well, we'll get the date sorted out in a minute. But she's been giving a talk on the Tonfeld or Clayfield, how it works, what we can achieve from it, and how it heals wounds from the past that are deep buried, that we've forgotten all about. And once we unleash these problems back into the world, we can move forward again in our life. So, Denise, welcome.
Welcome.
So, big evening on Wednesday. This is an evening where you will be giving a talk on the Tonfeld. So I guess the first thing to discover is what exactly is this model of healing?
Well, it has a very, very simple setup. It's just a wooden box filled up with clay. And the human original condition of development, it needs two. It's the I and the U. Mm-hmm. So two people, on the table is this wooden box filled with clay and a bowl of water. Okay. And the whole method is based on the haptic sense. And the haptic sense, or we call it short the haptic, is a very, very forgotten sense, but it's a core sense of human beings. And this sense is responsible for our, more or less, how our perception is constructed. So, yeah.
So, you work with children quite a lot, and I know that you work with children from as young as 7 and 8 years of age. I guess there's a lot of traumatized children at 7 years of age, 8 years of age. And how do you get them to understand what it is you're doing? Is this a problem-based model or a solution-based model?
Now, it's solution-based. And there is nothing at the Clayfield you should do or you shouldn't do.
Okay.
So it is it's very appealing to, especially for children, but also for teenagers, for grown-ups, and also for very, very old people. It's a good method also for blind people or handicapped people. End of the day, everybody who has hands can benefit from this Clayfield.
I see. And how was this discovered? Who discovered this? Because we watched. You showed me some videos the other day of how this works, and we saw a picture of or a little video of this young girl who really had trouble actually getting to the Clayfield, who actually was delaying and delaying and delaying. So this in itself tells a story. So how did the person who discovered that there was something wrong, how did he discover this method? And then as a consequence, how long did it take to develop this method to know that something could be wrong with people?
Mike, this is a very, very good question. I will try to answer it short. Otherwise, I could answer this question 2 hours.
Okay.
Yeah? So I will try it short. So it is Professor Heinz Deuser who invented this method or discovered it, or he's the first human being on this planet through thousands and thousands of years, through all cultures, who discovered the haptic sense.
Right.
Not the enlightened people in the East, and not the scientists, and not the psychoanalysts, and not nobody ever discovered this sense. So we all know about the optic and the acoustic. These are our senses we are familiar with. And even it is so obvious, because we all have hands and we do a lot with our hands, and we couldn't do much without our hands.
No.
Nobody ever questioned if the hands are here or are responsible for more than just grasping the lighter when you want to smoke a cigarette. So, and Professor Heinz Deusser was, by now I think it was in the 70s, he was in Germany at the center of Karl Graf Dürkheim. He was these days young himself. He studied German and philosophy. And they were there for self-experience, for treatments, for workshops. They hang out all good old days, they hang out the whole night, they discuss, they speak with philosophers, with artists, with healers. It was very exciting place these days. So what Professor Deusser did is he was sitting with people around the table, and they made a kind of an experiment. And it was a shell in the middle of the table, and he invited people to close their eyes, grasp the shell, and then speak about what comes to their mind.
Okay.
And people did. So one person took it and said, wow, this is like a little rabbit and so cute and so nice. Another one took it and said, wow, this is a bomb. So if anyone here gives me any shit, I just throw my bomb. So it appeared to people in a very different way. So and Deusser then asked himself, how comes? It's a shell, and people all knew it before with open eyes. So why now, when they have their eyes closed and they're all grown up and they're all more or less sober, they grasp it and such different images come up? And where do the images come from?
Right.
So in following in these questions, he found out that the images which appear in us are directly linked to the movement, how the shell was taken. So who takes it tender and a little bit shy will have like, oh, it's a rabbit and thing, and the other one taking it like bomb. You can already see it in the movement how it's taken.
Right.
And by that he was fascinated. And then 40 years, or maybe now, 40 years, 50 years now, we have 2020, He, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours, he was watching what do hands do when they grasp.
Okay.
So, of course, when I grasp a glass, this is it. He asked himself, what happens if we grasp something that we can form? And what happens when the item we are grasping is changing according to our style of grasping? And that's how he found got the idea, I will do it with clay. But then if there's only clay, so everything has a limit, and to experience limits so that you can also go over the limit, first you have to see there is a limit or a border. To overcome a border, you have to accept and to realize, oh, there is a border.
Right.
So he needed borders. So he took a wooden box, and with the measures where your hand and your underarm fits in, and filled it with clay, and from then on he looked thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. What do hands do in this field, and what does it tell about the people? What do the people experience while they are grasping? What kind of images do they get? What kind of emotions come up? And he developed this now through decades, and but only now, I think half year ago, he wrote the last book, and he said now the method is finished.
Okay, because also I think it's a little bit more than the hands, isn't it, in the sense that how people approach the clay felt can also be a telltale sign. And so we're actually looking at body movement. I know when we do our circles, you're very observant of how people sit down and how and where they place their legs, their shoulders, their arms. Is this part of the information that you receive from the clay felt as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we focus on the hands, but the haptic, to understand the haptic sense or to understand the haptic, you have to learn the grammar of movement.
Okay.
So, which is very difficult. It's not difficult, but it takes long time. And whenever you ask for help, your teacher, and you say, yeah, but how can I see that? And you will hear over and over again, you have to look. Keep on looking. Look, look, look. So, and then slowly, by looking, you start to see. And then when you start seeing, you have to learn the theory behind, which is more or less the whole development of a human being on a psychological level, on an anthropological level, on all kind. Whatever you can look at the human, this is the background information of the clay field. So, as we are focused on the movement, we don't only look at the hands. We also look, because the big thema or the big sayer about the clay field is movement becomes Gestalt, or movement always turns into Gestalt in the material world.
Yeah.
So, and not only in the material world, also like, for example, your voice. How does the voice sound? Depends on how is your muscles, how is your neck, how is your spine, how is your breathing, how is your everything.
Right. Yeah.
So, the color of your skin depends on the situation, the actual situation of your nervous system, of your central nervous system. So the whole body is one unity and everything is connected with everything. But the moment a body is alive, or there is life when life connects with the material world, there's always a movement. So you can say, where C.G. Jung said is the life energy, Professor Deuser talks about the life movement.
Right. Okay.
So already in our beginning, when the sperm comes and melts with the egg, this movement is already life.
Okay.
If this doesn't happen, then nothing will happen. There is no life without movement. So this is the beginning, or it's end of the day, it's already before, but somewhere you have to start. So you can say end of the day, in the movement of a person, if you're good in your job, you can see through the movement of a person till that actual moment, how did the sperm melt with the egg? Was this going the right way or not?
Right.
And you can see through the whole development in the prenatal phase of us, the 9 months of pregnancy, you can see the movement of a person, how did it go? Were there any bad experiences? Was there shock? Whatever. Then it's very obvious how was birth. Is there, in a way, birth
trauma?
Is a bit traumatic, but is it more than it has to be? You know?
Yeah.
Then you can see, or is it in the first 3 months of life, or is it in the first half year, or in the first, second, third? So we can detect quite accurate.
Wow.
There is a trauma, but Professor Deuser asked many times, please don't use the word trauma because it's very negative. Through psychology, you hear you have a trauma means you have a huge problem and you're not okay now anymore in your head. While in we Clayfield people, we talk it's a stuck movement, or it's a not flowing movement. We try to avoid the word trauma because it's somehow pathological, or it's doesn't sound too nice. It gives people a shock to hear.
Sure.
Trauma. Yeah. So we don't want to shock them more than we all are already shocked. Because really, Clayfield is good for if you have big problems. whatever you experience a trauma, whatever you are in an aeroplane and you fall down with the aeroplane, or you get robbed, or you get raped, or you had a horrible birth, or you, whatever, can happen to, horrible things can happen to humans on this planet, This planet is a rough place for us. So
yeah. So I obviously this can clearly help people with emotional conditions. Therefore, we know that every physical problem has an emotional attachment. So it's quite possible that we can also heal physical symptoms through the clay felt by unblocking the emotion that's been buried and forgotten about.
Yeah, but you see, also emotion is a movement. So we don't, it's, how can I say it nice? It is end of the day what happens that through the haptic, because we have two hands, so it's bipolar.
Okay.
So through this, our hands are a perception and relation organ.
Right.
So our hands tell us all the time if something is safe, if it's hot, if it's, how is it? When I look at something, I see it, but it's a different dimension. When I touch it, somehow I know more about what it is.
Interesting.
So our whole perception is based on three, how you say in English, basales sine, core senses, the three core senses.
Right.
That's what our perception, they construct our perception. So in these senses, if they are not developed fully because of shocks in our biography, we can perfectly reorganize our movement so that these senses get balanced. And if these senses are balanced and well connected with through the central nervous system, if the harmony and the free flow is there, we are free.
Super. And so, look, I won't keep you for much longer. I just wanted to wrap this up a little bit. And so, what can we expect on Wednesday evening at your talk about this? Are you going to be demonstrating, or are you just going to talk and put up a slideshow? Or don't you know just yet? That's the other.
I know. I have a little plan. And I did it several times. So I usually, this time I will try to talk less because I'm quite a talkative type. So I will give a very short introduction about more or less what I told you now, and then I think it's the best way to, because the Clayfield is a phenomenological method.
Right.
Yeah. So it is very, very touching, and it is a very strong impression when you see somebody working at the Clayfield, and you can watch this, how to say, it is, in a way, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
Each time it's a miracle where we all don't know why, what happens when these hands, in a way, come home, because in this field, the hands can do what their sense is made for. They can grasp, they can squeeze, hands in this field, they are waiting, they are excited, they get scared, they get paralyzed, they attack, they caress, it's more or less endless activity options in this field. And every person is doing something different in this field. Every person who goes and puts their hands into this field is deeply touched by what? end of the day by him or herself. It is
Wow.
our own movement which we experience through our hands in this field. So it's a very intimate dialogue between me and myself.
Wow.
So that I understand what I'm doing, not that I understand what I'm doing here, but that I need guidance, but I don't need anyone telling me what to do, but I need somebody sitting there to be a witness,
right,
and to help me to overcome my condition. So, and by not telling me what to do and what is best, and not telling me what is the solution, we have a very, very limited verbal talking on the clay field. So, but we can accompany and guide, more or less, we talk to the subconscious of a person. So we can, if a person, for example, the condition would be to not to take something, only
right,
to stay on the surface. But there will always be that, because all your life, you, for example, you're somebody, you cannot take your space, you cannot take compliments, you cannot take critique, you cannot take,
yeah,
So, and then, so your fingers will, at the moment where you come in the situation in the field to take something, there will be a block. And
wow,
then sometimes it's enough if the person who is sitting there talks the language of your hands and sees the need. So we look, how can the need of this, first we see what is the need of this person, and how can this person fulfill their own needs.
right,
So we see, for example, these hands want to need touch at this and this area, so for that they need to take. But this person, somehow the head or something says no, or this is blocked, and they feel not allowed to do that subconsciously. And we see the impulse, the hands would like to take. It's enough if this person says, and the hands will do. And then it's a big experience for this person. Now I have something in my hands.
right,
Next problem, what you do with what you have, As long as you don't take, you're fine, You don't have to deal with anything. You don't take, you don't have to deal.
right,
But if you take, then you have, and then what, So now I have it.
right,
And then comes next step. So do I keep it, or do I want to get rid of it?
right.
So let's say I get rid of this piece of clay I have now. Yeah, but where you get rid of it? You put it back to the field, you throw it behind your shoulders, you throw it out of the window,
Right.
or you do something with it, or if you decide to keep it, if you decide to put it away and you put it back in the field, it tells a lot where you put it in the field. You put it in your own corner, or in the you corner, or in the past corner, or in the future corner. So everything we cannot do, and even when we don't do anything, this also tells a lot.
Right.
Whatever we do, there's no escape anymore. The moment we sit in front of this box, and if we dare touch it, a process starts where we meet ourselves and nothing else. But this is a lot. And then we have to deal with ourselves. And what do I want? And can I do what I want? Or can I not do what I want? And it's amazing what happens. And it always ends with the optimal Gestalt. So the hands always find a way till they will not stop working in this field till they are happy. Till it's done what needs to be done for this one session. So every session, every clay field hour starts, you go to the field. Children work with open eyes. Adults work with closed eyes.
Ah, interesting.
Because, children don't have a persona yet, so they come, they tell the story, and they go.
Right.
We adults already have a lot of strategies and a lot of opinion about ourselves. So we need to, because the optic will destroy the haptic. With open eyes, it is very easy to touch this field and to do something.
Right.
So if many people who do pottery, they say, but I work a lot with clay and I don't have these amazing effects you're talking about.
Right.
I mean, they also feel that it does them good and they all love it. That's why they do it. It's beautiful to work with clay.
Right.
It's a total different story with closed eyes in front of this box, which has a border. So it's defined. So it's the other.
Wow.
So we experience ourselves. How do I go into relation generally with the other? And it's difficult for every human being to, because we are based on relation. We cannot exist without relation. That's the core human thing. And and this clay field shows and makes it feelable, very strong. How do we relate to ourselves and to others?
Right.
And wherever there is a problem, it can be in a quite joyful and sometimes even very fast, people can come out of their problems.
Right. And so by extension, I guess looking at a picture can tell you a lot about a person. How they knock on the door to enter can tell you a lot about before you even know them.
Yeah. What colors they wear.
Yeah.
How is the skin? Are they pale? How is the voice? When they come inside the room. So they come into a new situation, so they have to relate, they have to connect with the world, with what comes in front of them. And then we see, how is this person doing it? Comes inside the room, and where does the focus go? Does the person look around in the room and ignores the me?
Yeah.
Or is the person only seeing me and only after 5 times coming, she says, oh, you have puppet standing here? Was this always here? Yeah, this was always here. You know? So we all know that, where our focus goes, the energy follows the attention.
Yeah.
So where the attention goes is already tells a lot about the person,
Yeah.
How is the person, some people ask naturally, shall I take my shoes off or can I leave them on?
Right.
Others ask very devout,
Right.
take the shoes off?
Right.
Or children, and all these things, we have, when you learn to accompany on the clay field, I think we have more than 1,000 hours just perception training.
Wow.
So we watch and watch. We are watchdogs, we watch like, so.
Hawks, watch like hawks.
Yeah. But it is incredible what you see when you get trained and good in that.
Yeah.
It's we all through our movement is telling our whole biography.
Yeah.
It's all in our movement, in our system. Our body kept everything.
Yeah.
It's like a big hard disk system, and whatever got written on it is there.
It's there.
Yeah, we can override and we can, but
basically we can reboot.
Yeah, reset. Yeah,
reset.
Sometimes it really needs a reset. Yeah, which can be done. Yeah, can be done.
Yeah, perfect. So this talk is on Wednesday, and it's at Gallerrie NUU. And so, what time does it start? Where can we find Gallerrie NUU? And do you have a website that people can find you on?
Yeah. The website is www.nuu.at. That's the website of the gallery. The website of the Clayfield Association is, I cannot, shall I say, Justin? It's tonfeldverein.at.
Okay.
Is this true? Yeah, it's tonfeldverein.at. And it's in 9th district. It's in Wilhelm Exner Gasse 15. We will start 7 o'clock. So I will do a little talking. Then I think it's very interactive because I don't know what people would like to know. They for sure will come with an interest for the field, but so I would like to then say, are there any questions? And usually if you don't know about anything, it's also not so easy to ask. So this will be a little bit, but the questions which will be there, I will answer. And then I would like to do this one live Clayfield session.
Wow, great.
Afterwards, For sure, there will be 1,000 questions.
Yeah, don't pick on me for the live demonstration.
I will not pick, but everybody who wants, welcome. So if you like, most welcome.
Okay.
It's a big experience.
Okay. Good. And it starts at what time? Sorry.
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
It will go till around 10 o'clock.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. So, well, I'll be there for sure. And
I would be happy to see you.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're going to have a good reception there tomorrow. You're a very popular lady. You know a lot of people, and it's an opportunity for people with children to come along and simply hear what you have to say, because they might not need this now, but at some point in the future it might be beneficial just for them to know that this option is open for them and their children.
Yeah, I would honestly advise every parent to bring their children to the clay field, because there is nobody who didn't get a scratch on this planet. You know, when you're 1 year old, you already went through a lot.
Yeah.
There is no perfect pregnancy, there's no perfect mother, there's no perfect birth, there's no perfect first week. It is not. So, and the earlier you reorganize your own life movement to come in your own right way, the less you have to deconstruct later on of what you made up to survive. Or not only to survive, but to, to get along.
Yeah.
Get along. So it is, many children now get this diagnosis of ADHS, or they have whatever, also psychological diagnosis. Very often it is in the body, and children are very fast on the clay field. And, when they cannot sleep, when the parents separate, when they have an accident, when they have an operation, when they, whatever, it makes a big difference if a child comes to the clay field with 5 or with 7 or with 9. Adolescents, they have to come on free will, otherwise you should, force it. And children love the clay field. They terrorize their parents at home. I want to go to clay field. When can I go again to clay field? Because they are not looked at, here comes the one with the problem, and I'm the big therapist, I will help you. Come, we play a game now. No, children love the clay field because they are the heroes there. They win back their competence. They are the ones who can do, and there is nothing they should do. There's nothing which is forbidden to do. They are not alone. They are seen in their need, what they need.
Right.
Which is also for adults a big experience to be. If somebody focuses on you by what do you need, not asking you what do you need, I will give it to you. No. Right. That's why we clayfield workers are loved when we work with people, because we don't need to ask, we see. And people often don't know themselves their needs,
Right.
You don't know, I have the need for pressure, for example, or I need to caress my skin. We don't know this,
Right. Right.
And then we experience, wow, how children look at you with this relief and thankfulness in their eyes, wow, you understand me. Right. But not intellectual and not in a pedagogic way.
No.
Because we see them in a very deep inside what they need. Children love it, adults too. And
Brilliant. Yeah. Okay, well look, I'll see you tomorrow, and I encourage anyone who's listening to this on the various channels this is going out at to come along. We'll have the log fire going, I presume, and there'll be drinks as well. Yes. It's and
there will be a lot of time for talking and questions, and so we will not kick anyone out when tuck and go. It's not style of NUU.
No.
Do it in an intimate, familiar way.
Super. Okay. Well, Denise, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and let's get this out there. Hopefully I'll get this interview out tonight. If not, I'll be out tomorrow morning and get it to as many people as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike, for inviting me to this talk.
You're welcome.
I'm not really used to it, but I must say I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Yeah.
And let's hope for a good Clayfield night on Wednesday in Gallerrie NUU.